G'day, everybody. I want to talk about love differences and what you can do in different spots when it comes to love and why. Now, when you have a kid, you birthed it, you and someone else. So, two of yous created something, a little bit like God and His materials, right? And because two of yous created it, you can control it till it can able to control itself at their standard. That's how we see things, and how we look up to God and how we want God to help us, right? Is control us until we can see ourselves, right? And so when it comes to children and getting them to see the right things, so that's why it's always best to learn when they're young, as if you control them right, um, it'll work out good when they're older. If you don't, it might backfire, as they will realise you're like North Korea and I hate you, daddy and mummy, and you forced me to do this and this and that and didn't teach me this and that, right? And so when you have kids, you can control them like the government controls us adults. It's a similar thing where the adult is meant to show the kid the right way to go and why. And when we learn things together about being wrong, we show the right point of doing things the right way when we figure out that we're wrong, and show the right point always. That's the higher father. That's what we look up to, and how we get along when it comes to education and being right and fair, right? And then when it comes to love, so that's love for your child. You have a child, you love it because you've had it and all that, and you fall in love with it as you've had it, and you've got to have responsibility for it and so on in the ways that you believe responsibility for it, which is be control the way it fits into your life, or to give it life and make it harder for you because you know it's like that. To get something good, it first takes effort, doesn't it? If you don't do too much effort, you don't expect too big of an outcome when it comes to teaching your kid, right? Between school and yourselves. Because when they leave home, that's what they've had. It's like a two thing. They've had the school, which is the government education, what they believe they should learn before they go out to the real world, and what the parents also believe they should learn as well in their own little bubble or ways of thinking, as kids are similar to parents or opposite in all sorts of ways. So when it comes to love, and then trying to help, that's to help a person do the right thing, which is like a parent. So if you think you're good at it, or you wanted to make it right for yourself, because you can relearn as you re-educating yourself about freedom and choice and getting along, right? So you can either control or relearn yourself of how to do that. So you have a best buddy that loves you when you're older, or person that hates you, or neutral, doesn't give a crap, comes when it needs to, and all that kind of thing. What do we see mostly out in the world? But so when it comes to, and so you can make that happen, and you failed if you don't get that right. But when you get together as a couple, so when you're adults now, you both all got the free will now, and you have parents for advice now. They can't control you. They can only advise you or piss off like some of them do, or whatever, right? And you get a loved one, and you have problems between each other, just like a parent, and getting along and learning what you believe should be right and what you should learn more or not, and all that kind of stuff. As some couples will learn and some won't, and all that kind of thing when it comes to couples. And so when it comes to, say, like a child getting overweight, if a child started getting overweight, it's a thing that you see that's not good for anybody. The child knows that they don't want to be fat because they're starting to talk about they can't get into sports and they're missing out on this, they're not feeling well, they're starting to get ill, rah, 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 rah. So getting fat's not a good thing. Science and everything points to that direction. Anything, too much of anything's not a good thing. And that's getting too obese. Will start causing natural problems. And you get these problems usually because obesity and laziness and sitting around, bad diet, and all that kind of stuff causes the problems they end up getting. And so the only way to usually fix all these problems is to try to fix yourself. But that's a hard thing to try to say to these people without hurting their feelings and so on. And that's all the problem we have in that. But when it comes to a parent, they can help them by changing their diet. Right? They might have to go out and buy things with their pocket money, and that can't help that, but you can at least help where you can, right? Which is at your home. And so their parent can change your diet, make less of things, and why they're there, to try to help them see the right ways and speak to them without trying to hurt them by calling them fatty too much and all these. You can call them something every now and then to show a point, but if you overdo anything, it can backfire by calling your kid fatty all the time, right? They might turn it around, as I know with loved ones close to me, friends and stuff. If you tell them about their weight, they get angry and walk away from you and dislike you more because you keep updating them, right? So even the loved ones, as they say, the most closest ones tell you what you don't want to hear, but you know you need to, right? And then there's all these words that us humans can find to try to get what we need to say. We can use words like for propaganda. So when you're trying to help person to lose weight, or a kid, they can always turn around and then use another word that we use, right? Which is, you don't like me for who I am, right? And it's not about that. Right? It's about doing things the healthiest way and the right way, and you can do it. And there's help and there's ways of doing it. And that's the advice we give, and we prefer to. And if you suffer from not doing that, don't come running to us and crying about your suffering as you didn't do it, right? There should always be options, right? So the government does the same thing, right? They try to put money on the cigarettes. They try to tell us not to do certain things. The only downside is something's going to happen. Like a parent knows if you're going to do it and you can't stop it, well, then you try to make it better, right? So the government sees that point, or the parent, you try to make it better, so it's at least less damaging for them, or easier for them financially and all that kind of stuff, by telling them to grow their food or to make their things that they're addicted to, or to whatever, making it better, and then working on them again after that, as making it better in any case could go good or bad, right? It all depends on what follows afterwards, and that's what study and learning is, and what to say next after a step has been taken out. So you go, look, I've helped you out in here and here and here. Now I can take the next step by telling you that now you're not helping yourself. You got worse. You said this. When you do a step and they break their promises, then you can talk back. Why did you break that promise? Why did you make that happen like that? Why did you sell something that's unhealthy when you could sell it more healthy? Why is it unhealthy available to people and people having it unhealthy? Is that because you're not about offering a better availability to them and a healthier one, right? Then more than let's punish them to get them off, right? That what parent does that? Is that the good parent? About punishing all the time or hitting? Some parents say you don't need to hit a child, you just need to talk to them. There's all ways of education, isn't it? The best way to find out in the end when it comes to education is debate things and have nothing when it comes to the righteous, and by using the Bible helps us, I believe. We've got science, but science doesn't teach us how to connect and what's the best way to approach freedom and stuff like that. And that's why we have religion, right, to help us with that. But if you don't blend those two together, which law is not blending religion, right, and the right way, then it's just the control dominating way that you'll mostly see, as humans always like to pick the easier way if they can. And if someone's in power and they can control, which is why parents are controlling more often, and why you see more parents controlling kids than not, because it's the easy way out. And that's just a human thing, and science proves that with study and test of humans, right, of ourselves. Anyway, have a good one out there, and let me know what you think in comments of what I talked about when it comes to these issues, is why we should solve things when they're younger. So there's less arguments when it comes to the couples. Because if you don't solve certain things like healthiness, the way of living, you'll find that people will get together and only knew each other for a little bit, like we've got to get to know each other sooner or later, and be wasting relationships as we fail in certain areas of education, and then certain areas have to try to learn through it without the parent. It's like getting a license. Your P's had your parent for a couple of days, but then you had to teach yourself all the rest and had to look for it and had to do the right things, otherwise you're going to crash and die. Right? Anyway, have a good one and see you later.